Welcome, Wildcats. Today we are going to take a look at the next section for your Unit 4 assignments. We're going to look at the notes for those. But today we luckily have a co-pilot helping us out here in the back. Why don't you say hello to the group there, R2? Yes, it's very nice to be working with you as well. So guys, let's go ahead and get started on this. So we're looking at multiplying and dividing rational expressions. So when we're multiplying and dividing rational expressions, we're obviously talking about two different things, multiplication and division. Well, we're going to start by talking about just multiplying. So, like many things, I've got an easy step-by-step process for you to remember. First, you want to factor literally everything. Factor it out as much as you can. It doesn't matter if it's just a binomial where both of them share something, just factor it all. Everything. The next step is you're going to cancel everything that cancels. If you've got stuff on top of one, stuff on top of the other, bottom, just cancel it all. If it is on top on one side and on bottom somewhere else, cancel them out. Finally, you'll just take everything and multiply across the top, take everything, multiply across the bottom. Finally, you'll find your excluded terms. Those are the 4 steps that we're going to use for multiplication. So let's go ahead and, as always, take a look at an example. The example we're going to use is 6x squared plus 24x over 2 times 4x over x plus 4. So let's go over the document camera. When looking at this, I like to take each of them individually. So 6x squared plus 24x. Well, 6 and 24 are both multiples of 6, so I can factor that out. X squared and x, they share an x as well, so I can pull that out. 6x squared divided by 6x is just x. 24x divided by 6x. 24 divided by 6 is 4. So x plus 4. And then x divided by x is just 1. So I'm left with x plus 4 on top. Divided by 2 because 2 does not divide, does not factor. Then I have 4x on top. Since it's just 4x, I can't cancel anything out there. I can't factor it. And then x plus 4 doesn't factor either. So that was step 1. I have fully factored everything to the best of my ability. So step 2 was to cancel everything that cancels. Well, here I have an x plus 4 on top, and here I have an x plus 4 on bottom. So the x plus 4 on top cancels with the x plus 4 on bottom. Here I have a 6 on top and a 2 on bottom. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Now I have a 3x on top here and a 4x on top here. 3x times 4x is 12x. I have a 1 on top and a 1 on bottom. I have a 1 on bottom here and a 1 on bottom here. 1 times 1 is 1, so that's 12x over 1. As we know, that's just 12x. So even though we started with a very complex looking fraction, this guy up here, once we've simplified it down, this actually simplifies all the way down to 12x, and that would be your answer. They also, however, want you to give them excluded values. So, in order with multiplication to find excluded values, you take a look at every term that's in your denominator that has an x in it. This does not have an x, but this does. So I take that term, x plus 4, set it equal to 0, and solve for x. X equals negative 4. So 12x is my answer. X equals negative 4 is my excluded value. And that's exactly what I would put for my answer to this problem in HRW. That's how you're going to do all of the multiplication problems. There may be some that are 3 fractions multiplied by each other, and if that's true, that's fine. It's not a big deal. All you're going to do is you're going to take those 3 things and multiply in the same way you did with just 2. You'll factor everything out as far as you can, cancel top to bottom, and then once you're done, you just take everything and multiply it step by step on top, step by step on bottom, and then find your excluded values. It's no different than multiplying by 2 things, there's just more of them. However, there is a small difference between multiplication and division. I know you guys are probably thinking they're opposites. How can there only be a small difference? Well, let me show you. So, with dividing, that's the wrong one. That one. There we go. That's the right spot to be. So, with dividing, there is only one step that is different than the others. So, our first step, just like before, is to factor everything fully, factor it out completely. Our second step is where there's a difference. The fraction that comes after the division sign, you're going to flip it. You're going to take the reciprocal, is the technical term. What that means is what was on top is going to go to the bottom, and what was on bottom is going to go on to the top. Then, just like before, everything that's on top and bottom that is shared between the two, you'll cancel them out. Next, after you flip the division sign, you actually change the division sign to multiplication. So after step 2, it's literally a multiplication problem. So step 4 is to multiply across the top and multiply across the bottom. Finally, you find your excluded terms. Now for the excluded terms, there is a small difference between how you do it with multiplication and division, but I'll show you that here on the example. So our example for division is going to be this. And I know it looks big and I know it looks like a mess, but together we'll be able to figure this out. So we have 4x squared plus 12x over x squared plus 4x plus 4 divided by 16x plus 48 over x squared minus 4. So, once again, first step is to factor everything. 4x squared plus 12x, 4 and 12 are both multiples of 4, so I factor a 4 out. X squared and x are both shared as well, so I'm actually going to factor out a 4x. 4x squared divided by 4x is x. 12x divided by 4x is 3. Then on bottom, a trinomial factors into 2 binomials. Addition at the end means both my signs are the same. Addition in the middle means they're both plus. X squared's coefficient is 1, so the factors of x squared are x and x. The factors of 4 are 1 and 4, and 2 and 2. I need to find the factor pairs of 4 that add together to give me 4. Since 1 plus 4 is 5, that's not right. 2 plus 2 is 4, so that is correct. So x plus 2. Now, like I said on the previous one, I'd like to do step 1 and 2 together at the same time for division. So I'm going to change this to multiplication. I'm then going to flip these at the same time as I factor them. I have x squared minus 4 on bottom, so that's now going to go on top. But since we have a difference of squares here, there's that special factoring rule that we learned. If I have a square minus a square, then that factors into 2 binomials, one of them plus, one of them minus. I take the square root of the first number, so the square root of x squared, which is x, put it in both the first spots. Then I take the square root of the second number, square root of 4 is 2, and I put that in both the second spots. So x squared minus 4 factors into x plus 2, x minus 2. 16x plus 48, well, those are both multiples of 16, so I can factor a 16 out, and I will have x plus 48 divided by 16 is 3. Alright, so what do I share top and bottom? That's what I'm going to cancel out. I have a 3 on top and a 3 on bottom, x plus 3 I should say, and I have an x plus 2 on bottom and an x plus 2 on top. I have a 16x, or a 16 on bottom and a 4 on top. Those are both multiples of 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So on the bottom, I'm left with a 4 and an x plus 2. And on the top, I'm left with an x and an x minus 2. Now, this is my answer, but when it comes to excluded values, here's where division's a little bit different than multiplication. While I can come back to this step and look at the things that are in the denominator here, so that would be x plus 2 equals 0, and x plus 2 equals 0, but that's the same thing, and then x plus 3 equals 0, there's actually a weird rule here, which is what got flipped to the top here on this side actually can't equal 0 either because of the way division works. So in this case, when I factored these apart, I got x plus 2 and x minus 2. So x plus 2 is already accounted for, but I actually need to check x minus 2 as well. So I'm going to have 3 excluded values, not just the 2 that the problem suggests that I should have. So that means x equals negative 2, x equals negative 3, and x equals 2. And I will warn you, there is at least one problem on this homework assignment. When they ask you to put in the excluded values, they ask you to put them in from least to greatest. So do pay attention to the entire question, read the whole thing, and make sure you know what you've got going on. Alright, Wildcats, that's everything that you need to know for 4.9. Some of the problems are a little more complex than the ones that I've shown you. I did do a YouTube video on me solving most of the problems, so if you need help, you can try checking that out. Additionally, if you need more help, if I'm at school, which I will be back at the end of the week, you can talk to me there. Or if you need help before then, you can see any of the other Algebra 2 teachers. The easiest one to find is normally Miss Johnson in room 217. Mr. Luke is down in the 9th grade center. I don't know his room number, but you can find him down there if you need additional help. Or either Coach Pierce or Coach Ron Slavin. We are the 5 that teach Algebra 2. But Wildcats, I think that should be everything you need to be able to do this homework assignment, and I will see you guys at the end of the week. Sorry I can't be there in person to help you guys out, but what do you say, R2? Do you have anything else for them? Alright. R2 wishes you luck as well, guys.